Show.
Fat Joe said that.
Fat Joe's a
Lean back.
We've been leaning back for 20 years, man.
6ix9ine sat down for an interview with the Dancer Project, and things got wild fast. When they brought up Fat Joe's past comments about him, 6ix9ine didn't hold back. He straight up exposed Fat Joe. And let me tell you, once I checked the receipts, what 6ix9ine said was actually true. This whole thing has layers, and in this video, we're breaking it all down. But before we get into what 6ix9ine revealed, let's rewind for a second, because Fat Joe has been on a long mission to tear this man down. For years, he's been coming for 6ix9ine's neck in interviews and podcasts, calling him every name in the book. And it's not like this was some one-time thing either. This feud has been brewing for years. We've got clips going back 2, even 3 years from his appearance on Math Hoffa's show.
Bet in hip-hop that broke the camel's back, pause, to make it to where you could snitch. And if you make good music or something, you could still live out here in hip-hop. Like, what was the straw that broke the camel's back in hip-hop, where we had a code and there is no code no more?
Where Fat Joe was blasting 6ix9ine nonstop. Then just last month, Fat Joe was at it again, talking crazy about him. It's like he just can't let it go. 6ix9ine finally got tired of staying quiet and decided to air out everything he knows. And what he said might change how people see Fat Joe forever. Now, let's not forget, Fat Joe once said that 6ix9ine was basically one of the biggest rats in hip-hop history.
There just isn't no code no more. And what do you think is the event that, I remember growing up, even if you was fronting, you wasn't a real gangster, but you was spitting gangster rap shit. You wasn't with the rats like that. Right now, this
too many of them.
Sold out concerts.
I don't think you can escape them.
Even compared him to Alpo, saying that if Alpo's part of the culture, then 6ix9ine is easily the most famous rat in the game. In his own words, Fat Joe called 6ix9ine a P, a B, and everything else under the sun. So apparently all that anger Fat Joe's been holding towards 6ix9ine actually came from frustration. He claimed that he tried to warn 6ix9ine about the RICO case before it went down. Fat Joe said he told him straight up what was gonna happen, but 6ix9ine didn't listen. And once things went left, Joe felt like his warning had been ignored completely.
They all a rat. They're like New York City rats. Humans. It's rats everywhere. And everywhere is everything,
Too many Fredos, not enough Michaels.
That's a fact.
Some of these guys got to take a boat ride, never come back. Sammy the Bull is the most famous rat on the earth. Sammy the Bull.
Now here's the thing, Fat Joe keeps saying he's about peace these days. He's in his 40s, focused on tranquility, like he's too grown for drama. And I get it, once you hit that stage in life, peace starts sounding better than beef. But let's be real, if you're preaching peace while still talking slick about people in interviews, that doesn't exactly scream zen, does it? Joe even said in one of his old interviews that he wouldn't be out here talking about people snitching or calling folks out their names because, as he put it, he didn't snitch on me or anyone I know. But then he turned around and kept the rat talk alive anyway. He said 6ix9ine snitched on guys who already knew what they were getting into and who still decided to keep him around.
Then you came Alpo, guy everybody looked up to, charismatic, Harlem fly, Louis Vuitton, this, that, told. He did that, right?
Shout out to Wayne Perry and Wayne Perry Jr.
Then, in hip-hop, the day 6ix9ine sat on that stand.
Yo.
No!
Man.
It's like, pick a side, Joe. Either you're above the drama or you're right in the middle of it. And now Fat Joe's out here acting like he's the prime minister of hip-hop morality, leading the anti-rat campaign. That's the image he's been pushing for years. But here's where it gets interesting. After all that, Tekashi didn't just sit back quietly. So just recently, like literally a month ago, Fat Joe decided to bring up snitching again. He was sitting down with Jadakiss talking about how he stayed up at night trying to come up with a good topic for his next discussion. And guess what he said? That the perfect topic was, who started the snitching epidemic in hip-hop? And of course, he pointed his finger right at 6ix9ine. Can you believe that?
You remember, if you're watching the story, they taking him to court in bulletproof vests. They acting like he was telling on El Chapo. He put a lot of good people in jail, man.
Facts.
No,
we gotta put him away till it's time.
Yo,
my feeling is gonna get close.
You feel it?
I feel his time has come. I feel his time is gonna be soon, though.
You don't need a lot.
Yeah.
Does it not matter no more? And I believe 6ix9ine.
But before we even get into 6ix9ine's response, let's pause and think about it for a second. What does any of this have to do with music now? Like seriously, how does debating who started snitching change anything about the culture or the charts? It feels like Fat Joe's more focused on stirring up controversy than talking about actual artistry these days. Let's keep it real. 6ix9ine hasn't been dropping heat lately. His music used to bang back in the day. It was loud, chaotic, and had that wild energy that fit a certain era. But now, his songs just aren't hitting like they used to. The snippets he posts, nobody's checking for them. Even when he releases new tracks, the buzz fades fast. It's like people have moved on, and the music doesn't match the hype anymore. Still, even if 6ix9ine's not topping charts right now, why is Fat Joe making this personal? Because here's the truth. Most hip-hop fans today aren't even from the streets.
If I crown myself the rat leader, he crowned himself as the cap leader. He didn't rob no 50 at no gym. Yo, bro, I'm not gonna lie, bro. Which one's my camera? That one?
Yeah.
This one? That one? Yeah, Fat Joe, you're a like, you're a I'm not even gonna lie, you're a captain of the cap. Like, nobody believe, even your co-host who's Jadakiss don't believe you.
90% of the people streaming and supporting the genre have never lived that lifestyle. Let's be real. People love to act like every black listener in hip-hop grew up in the hood, but that's just not true. Most black folks didn't grow up in the projects or live that street life, and that's just facts. So if most of us aren't street dudes, why would we be out here living by the code of the street, especially when it comes to the music?
Every time you say a cap, that like, like, but like I said, you gonna go
flag, like flag on the play.
And my next song, I even say, I be spitting so much facts that I make jokes to distract. That's the next bar in my song. Don't like the truth, so y'all make.
It just doesn't add up. And if we're being honest, look at who's showing up at these concerts. Go to any big rap show this year, any of them. You'll see that about 70%, maybe even 80% to 90% of the crowd is not black. It's mixed crowds from all walks of life, people who love the beats and energy, not the street politics. Go to a Drake concert, 90% of the crowd is never...
to distract me. We noticed lying, right? All right, yo, listen to me. Listen to me.
But there's a lot of people that say he ain't lying.
He ain't lying? Yeah. All right, which one's my camera? If Fat Joe is not lying, the next person on the Dance Project...
even been near the hood. So all these street rules that rappers keep throwing around don't even apply to the majority of their fans. But that's exactly what Fat Joe's been complaining about. He keeps blaming 6ix9ine for ruining hip.
Bring Big Pun's son. Bring Big Pun's son on the Dance Project. Welcome back.
Chris Rivers.
Welcome back, y'all. Let's skip this clip. Watch when he see this clip, he gonna hit up. Yo, Chris, don't do that. How much money you need? Out of here.
Pop street code like the man personally tore down decades of unspoken rules. So how did 6ix9ine clap back? Oh, he snapped in the most unexpected way. Instead of denying what he did like most would, he stood firm and flipped the whole thing around. He called out the hypocrisy loud and clear. While Fat Joe was out here talking that real man talk, honor, morals, integrity, all that, 6ix9ine came through and completely exposed how Joe's actions didn't match his words. He basically said, you can't preach loyalty when your own moves are shady. Or when 6ix9ine finally fired back, he didn't hold a single thing back. He went straight for Fat Joe's credibility. In his interview, he dropped some serious claims saying that Fat Joe used to move dirty back in the day. According to 6ix9ine, Fat Joe wasn't exactly the morals and integrity guy he pretends to be now. He said Fat Joe had ties to some real shady business and people, and that if he really wanted, he could air out a whole list of names and receipts. That's wild. 6ix9ine basically said, you're out here acting like a saint now, but you weren't living like that back then. And honestly, that statement had the internet buzzing. People started digging into old interviews, old clips, trying to see if there was truth behind what he said. Some folks were even saying that Fat Joe's old street ties might not be as clean as he likes to claim.
Joe, where, you know, you got to file a lawsuit to figure out what actually happened and to find out where is the money. So today, although Fat Joe's lawyers originally filed an answer in the case, they subsequently filed a motion to dismiss, as did Jelly's Jams, not claiming that they don't owe any money, but just making technical legal arguments that basically saying that Liza can't sue them for one reason or another. We feel pretty good about the hearing. There was a hearing that took place today, oral arguments for our side and for Jelly's Jams and Fat Joe, to talk about why we believe that they should be kept in this case.
What makes this even crazier is that 6ix9ine wasn't yelling or trying to start drama. He was calm, confident, and seemed dead serious about what he was saying. He made it clear he wasn't scared of Fat Joe, and he wasn't backing down either. You could tell this wasn't just about old beef. It was about exposing someone who, in his eyes, has been hiding behind a fake real man image for too long. Now here's where things get real messy. The reason 6ix9ine brought up Big Pun's son is because he wanted to expose how Fat Joe doesn't even live by the same morals and principles he preaches about. Joe's always out here talking about integrity and honor, but when it comes to the street code, there's one major rule. You take care of your fallen homie's family. That's supposed to be non-negotiable. By Joe's own logic, if you're really about that street life, then when one of your brothers passes, you make sure his people are good. No excuses. You make sure his wife and kids are straight.
And why we believe that they basically had fiduciary duties, meaning a higher standard than a breach of contract standard, to pay Liza monies that were due her husband so that her family can benefit. You asked if it was a rehashing. Well, in some ways it's the same issue. The big question is, where's the money, right? So, and there's some new information has come to light just of late that is setting some light on what happened to the money. And so that's really why this lawsuit is being filed now. Over time, you're supposed
the money handled right, and that they never have to struggle. But according to 6ix9ine, that's exactly what Fat Joe didn't do when it came to Big Pun's family. For years, Big Pun's wife and son have been accusing Fat Joe of keeping money that rightfully belongs to them from Pun's music catalog. They've said time and time again that Fat Joe made millions off Big Pun's legacy, but didn't share what was owed. At one point, Fat Joe even claimed that he gave them $1 million, but Big Pun's wife came out and said that's a lie. She said, and I quote, that they never received $1 million from Fat Joe. That's a heavy accusation. So when 6ix9ine threw Big Pun's son's name into the mix, it wasn't random. It was his way of saying you can't talk loyalty and honor when you didn't even stand by your own people.
to get royalties twice a year or whatever, and most of the time the accounts are saying they're unrecouped. So when an artist is getting statements that say they're unrecouped, there's really no reason for them to think that there should be money there. Right. In this particular case, we found the reason to believe that there really should be some more money there. And that is that we found out that in foreign territories overseas, that the writer splits are not properly reflected for the songs the way they should have been.
That hit deep because it exposed a part of Joe's history that fans had either forgotten or never knew about. So here's where it all came crashing down. Big Pun's family actually filed a lawsuit against Fat Joe. Yeah, this wasn't just talk anymore. It turned into a full-blown legal fight. According to reports, the lawsuit was about unpaid royalties from Big Pun's music that were never reaching his wife and kids. The wild part, those royalties were still being paid out, but the money wasn't going where it should have gone. Fat Joe allegedly told them, ain't no money coming in, man. Everything's tied up with prior obligations. But when the family started doing their homework, they discovered the truth. Money was coming in, and someone was collecting it behind the scenes. That discovery flipped everything upside down. Some say the case was already settled in favor of Big Pun's family, while others say it's still in court. But either way, the situation left a nasty stain on Fat Joe's name. Now let's be honest for a second. If these claims are true, that's some dark stuff. From where I stand, doing something like that to a man's family after he's gone is way worse than snitching on criminals. Think about it.
And that's indicating that there was some money that was collected there that shouldn't have been collected. So that's where we're after. We're trying to pursue that. Actually, the important thing is that now artists are also getting paid for that money. ASCAP and BMI, the traditional, societies that collect money for songwriters, have been able to collect money for those streaming services and other, new technology.
You're talking all this talk about loyalty and brotherhood, but then allegedly keeping money from your own friend's family? That's cold. It's crazy how the same people preaching honor and code end up being the ones breaking it when the spotlight fades. So, what do y'all think? Was 6ix9ine wrong for calling out Fat Joe, or did he just expose something that needed to be said? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I want to know how y'all feel about this one. And before you go, make sure to like, subscribe, and share this video. Don't miss what's coming next. It's about a Vlad TV guest catching major backlash for what he said about Charlie Kirk. Click on the next video right here, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.